to see the live stream for the whole time, but we are broadcasting to the masses.
Great.
We are live. How
Great.
cool is that?
All right.
All right, maybe not. Oh, there we are. Look at that. Amazing.
Technology's so good.
We're so good at technology.
We're getting better.
Yeah. We're becoming like old pros at it. Shouldn't say the word old. People will think we're old.
We're old, mate. They can see our grey hair.
Yeah, it's true. It's true. It's very true. And wait, was one now we're counting the emergency episode as 107. Am I reading at 108, or is just this now 107? No, like important admin.
Whatever I wrote on the link is correct because I checked that. What I wrote on the sheet is wrong. So
Okay,
it's 108.
it's 108
Yeah, definitely.
because 107 was Lillard.
Yeah.
Awesome. Back to the original sound effects.
You don't want the siren again?
We can go the siren again. It's no emergency though.
It's true.
No false alarms here, all right?
Emergency's over.
That's it. Welcome everybody to episode 108 of the You Can't Comp This NBA Trading Card Podcast. We're your hosts Adam, Amy, and Russell Gibson. It's been a long weekend down here. How are you, Russell?
I've got like a bit of a tan.
I'm feeling a bit sunburnt.
Yeah, had some pizza tonight.
It's good.
It's been a lovely weekend.
Some sunshine, some...
It's like perfect Melbourne weather. It's not often you can say the weather in Melbourne is perfect, and this is like...
Well, get ready.
one of the-
Tomorrow's going to be a snowstorm, but that's not the point.
Apparently it's going to be 7 degrees tonight, and it's going to be quite warm tomorrow.
What is this like spring nice weather thing that Melbourne,
So nice.
the state's doing? Every now and then they give us a bit of a taste of it down here. It's nice.
I feel like we should do a You Can't Comp This weather segment one day.
Yeah. And get the listeners to let us know what the weather's like in their neck of the woods. It'd be everybody north of where we are just telling us how amazingly warm the weather is always.
I was more thinking like, how like the weather person like has the board and stuff. We can do
wow.
that, yeah.
Wow.
agree
Can you
with that.
design the board?
Nah.
Oh, this could go deep.
All right, we're going to talk about Dame this week. We're going to talk about the buyback program. We're going to talk about improvements to eBay's processes, Josh Primo, a couple of nice little card sales, and then some Mosaic talk.
Yes.
If we've got time, we'll do some buy, hold, and sell. So we'll just see how much we waffle on for.
We don't waffle, we segue.
How much we segue.
We might segue a lot. We might segue a little. Who knows? It's the adventure
Anyway.
of week to week.
Damian Lillard, I still want to talk about this some more because I'm sure you're going to have some, afterthoughts. And if you haven't heard the last episode, we actually did a full and complete breakdown of that. I do want to flex a small piece here. So Brian Windhorse and his podcast team beat us by 8 hours getting their podcast up.
Okay.
But we beat Sports Cards Nonsense by 15 hours.
Oh, we're on
with
the
our-
pulse. We were
with our
definitely.
emergency. So I was quite happy about that. So
Because what? It was within it. I think the news broke, and inside 10 hours we were up doing a pod.
Yep.
So we had our
for
fingers
us,
on the pulse. That's
that
impressive.
is that's a quick sort of little rollover. So what have you got for thoughts in terms of post podcast Damian Lillard thoughts?
Look, friend of the show, Al, did ask if we'd referred to it as Dame Miller time. And look, we didn't think of that. That was a good one. I like that.
Should we explain that reference to people?
Probably.
Because if I understand the joke correctly, it's because
Miller
they make
is
Miller in Milwaukee. Is that right?
Well, yeah. Well, and Mill for Milwaukee, Miller time. Because, yeah.
Right.
Yeah. It's yeah. And it's a whole, the Miller it's a beer ad, right? It's Miller time. It's time for a bit. It's beer o'clock. So that's what Dame Lillard's going to do. He's going to go and drink lots of beer. And
Okay.
then there was another one. Did you share the Instagram of the Miami jersey?
No, but he's talking about the Milwaukee one.
Yeah.
Put the tape over the top to say Miami.
Yeah. M-I,
That was quite good.
yeah, A-M-E-E. Like, that's clever. That was very clever.
So my post podcast fallout from this is just how much activity is now going on with Damian Lillard. So if you are currently sitting on Damian Lillard's,
Now is the time.
and you want to move them on to something else, you should start looking at, what's happening.
Yeah.
The other really thing that's interesting at the moment is, like, it's still very early days, but it seems to me at the moment eBay auctions are probably a little bit slower than what people want or are wanting. So it seems to me the trend now is more about doing buy it now. Now, I think this is a very short-term trend until, the regular season kicks off again. But some of the asking prices here is quite actually interesting. There's ranges of prices from, the completely outrageous to the, quite close to comps. But there's also, stuff on here for, like, double comps is what they're asking for. So
Yeah.
But I've just noticed even on, say, Facebook pages and stuff like that, there's just a lot more chatter going on. So if you want to call this the
Ferrugia
Damian-
factor?
Yeah, that's right. That's literally, you took the words out of my mouth. I was going to say the Damian Lillard Ferrugia factor. This is it. So
But this is like the literal, like, Ferrugia factor in effect. Like, this is watching it unfold. The news is broken. The trade has happened. And now Damian Lillard is in everybody's focus.
yeah. I think that's actually a very good way to explain the Ferrugia factor, isn't it? For people, at home that don't know what the Ferrugia factor is, it's the excitement factor, and
It is. It's
people
very...
are excited about him being traded. So,
and look, we haven't even got to the stuff. Like, preseason games haven't even started yet. There's not a lot going on in the news, so something big like this happening does. It's very very
raises
easy to get
the pulses.
Yeah, gets people excited, gets people wanting to buy cards and acquire. And it's like, what should we do? Oh, Lillard in the spotlight. He's going to win championships now.
Yeah.
Get me some Lillard. So it's not a bad thing.
Yeah. So we did a social media post about, do you want 1 Lillard, 3 Tatums, or 2 Bookers?
Mm-hmm.
And I was a bit generous with the multiplication, giving people 3 Tatums and 2 Bookers. But I think what I was sort of having in my mind a little bit, I'm like, I'm pretty sure this is going to trend up a fraction. And there's no evidence here that people are going to be selling silvers for less than 3. I just can't see it. At least for a buy it now price anyway.
Yeah.
So, it's really interesting. There's, like, the pop of them is not high. I got to say, if I was holding one of those, I'm not encouraging price gouging, but I'd also say people that have them know what they've got.
Yeah, that's true. That's very true.
So maybe actually the correct asking price, is double comps.
It's double comps.
Yeah.
Yeah, pop count's a thing. We've got to look at it in a holistic sense.
That's right. We're a holistic podcast.
Holistically speaking.
All right. EJ Cards are our primary sponsor, and we've been forever thankful for all the support they've given us. We recently had a little bit of product given to us from them. So,
yeah.
David Ralph, thank you so much for putting up your post and thanking us for the Donruss T-Mobile box. And then, my memory is completely failing.
Mark Schmidt, wasn't it?
Mark Schmidt, thank you, mate. Yeah, with his Pokemon box, and he hit a Charizard EX, and I got to tell you, his son looks absolutely wrapped with that. So I'm stoked. I'm sure the boys at EJ's are stoked for that, and also just good to see. Look, if someone had got that box and flipped it on and then turned that money to something else, we'd have no problem with that. It's your box, but it's also really nice to see people bust open something and get a card that they genuinely enjoy. So that's like
yeah, definitely.
Yep. Two other things I just wanted to quickly run through too is the Traders Day, which is coming up on the 22nd of October. I'm going to be there, so I've already put it into the diary. My missus knows. Adam, you coming down?
I'm looking at the calendar now. I don't see any conflicts on the schedule, so I should be there.
Okay,
Should be there.
great. That'll be awesome. It'll be good to see you.
It'd be good.
And then the other thing I just noticed on their page tonight, and I'm not too sure if this is new or if this is something that they have been doing for a while, I've just not noticed, is reverse auction. So, which is maybe more famously known as the Dutch auction.
Mm.
So I have to hear from Jules and Rob what's going on in that space.
Nice. Very nice.
Right. The big story, I think, and this is the one I want to talk to you probably the most about.
Yep.
There was a Twitter story which broke. This is on the 27th, so we're going back a few days. Now, look, who knows? Was it Eric Whiteback? Was it Darren Rovell? No one really knows. All that Twitter stuff sort of just goes around in circles.
Yeah,
But
true.
for argument's sake, let's just say it was Eric Whiteback. There was multiple one-of-ones from a baseball product that had been hit.
Yep.
And then, because of the power of social media, let's just call it that,
Mm-hmm.
then, people were putting the pieces together that actually, hang on a second, there's two one-of-ones of the exact same card. So
Now, yeah, this is interesting.
yeah, it's super interesting, isn't it? Right. So it's really, to me, this is a little bit almost humorous though, because if you think about the practicalities of basketball, and let's use the easy example, Select. No one cares there's 5 one-of-ones. Like, people still think they're collectible. So I think there has been a bit of a kickoff here.
Yeah.
I feel like they should have just labeled one a gold refractor and one an X refractor or something like that, and then I feel like people would have been happy. But anyway, look, Topps have actually done the right thing. So a couple of days later, what they then went and announced,
Yep.
they announced a buyback program. I put the link in the run sheet ad. You should see some of the prices on these that they're offering for buyback. I'm just going to read these prices off, and I'm not going to read the names off because I don't even know who these people are. This is baseball. 5,000, 10,000, 7,500. Keep in mind these are US dollars. 3,000, 35,000. Oh, I should say the name of the 35,000. Felden Celestin for the Seattle Mariners. 10,000. There's a whole heap of 10,000s in that line there.
That is insane.
And then what's also really cool, and I like this a lot, is the list is being updated in live time. So, for example, if it's been purchased, they take the buyback value down. If it's been unclaimed, it's unclaimed. If it's pending, that means I'm assuming someone's put it, at least the paperwork in, to get the ball rolling. So,
Oh, wow.
yeah.
So pending means somebody's, like said they're going to send the card in.
So if there's 2 out there, it's almost like a race. So if 2 people actually, if the same 2 card is surfaced twice, it's a race to get the first one in, because once the first card's been bought back, the other one stays like live and wild in the population. So now, some people said on social media, this is just a very elaborate and very well played out marketing campaign.
How do we go from being lied to by a company to them spinning it so that it's a clever marketing program?
Well, I think because initially when the story was released, if you believe the current progress of this story, then actually they didn't realize there'd been a manufacturing error. Then they said, yes, we identified it and we've rectified our back-end processes. And now, as a consequence of this, now we've announced the buyback program. So when we say they, we're talking about Topps and Fanatics, by the way, just to make this perfectly
Make it
clear.
crystal clear.
Yeah.
It's interesting, isn't it?
Look, I don't mind bounties on cards, to be perfectly honest with you. And I would say the bounty I want to talk about, remember that Lord of the Rings card they did a bounty on?
Yes.
In
yes.
Magic, right?
Yep.
You're talking to somebody that I'm so pure basketball. Like, I've just started to open a couple of packets of soccer, and that to me was like a big life change, right? So that bounty was so enticing. Even I was considering buying a box of Magic. Do you know what I mean?
Yeah, okay.
I think that's the power of these, buyback programs. And
yeah. Well, what about the was it the Luca? They did a Luca for the one, the black.
And that definitely spiked people buying them. That card still hasn't been surfaced yet. So then people said, well, they've got all this stock sitting around that, they want to move on, and this is what that's all about. But apparently, the stock has been sold out. So now, if you're holding that stock, it's just pushed up the value,
Wow.
very tidily.
Okay.
And I think also too, considering how generous the buyback prices are here, I struggle to believe they'd be making money out of this. The checklist is extensive. I was going to say comprehensive. You could say both. You could say extensive and
Yeah.
comprehensive. It's a massive checklist, man. Like this would cost them. Look,
Yeah.
someone's probably sat there with a calculator and added it up,
Worked
but
out
I'm
how much
guessing-
each. Yeah, but these values change at all?
I don't believe so.
Because we're updating in real time. If all of a sudden, let's pick someone that's in the $3,000 bracket.
Yeah.
And Termar Johnson from Pittsburgh.
Yeah, sure.
I don't know. Goes on a
And then
crazy tear and
Yeah, it has
starts
like a
setting
home run
records.
streak. Yeah, sure.
Like starts setting records. Does
Yeah.
the buyback value go to 30,000?
So I'll answer this question. This is the perfect segue into the next bit. So I would say in that case, people will just use their nous and sell it on the open market because they'll get more for it.
Yeah.
I think if someone's on a hot streak, then the value of the card will go up. So very interestingly, one of these cards sold for 2,000 USD, and it
Yep.
sold as a private sale on eBay. Then, after the card was purchased and paid for, then the buyback program was announced, and the bounty was $25,000. So, the seller then intervened on the tracking and got it returned to him, which you can do.
Yeah.
Refunded the guy, and then presumably is going to send it in to claim the $25,000 bounty. So
Wow. Is it that? It wouldn't happen to be the Dodgers player, would it? Joey Vargas? Is it? Joendry Vargas. I'm just looking. I just saw a $25,000 tag.
I actually don't have that story in front of me. It was in our group chat tonight,
Oh, there's
and
multiple. There's multiples here. Don't worry. There's
I
another guy
couldn't
that's
find the
25.
link for it, to be honest. So
That's crazy though. So
anyway, I wanted to get your response on that. That was like the one that I want to talk about, because I
Yeah.
think the general consensus in the group chat was that the seller did the wrong thing, and that once he'd sold it, it was no longer.
he's gone back on his agreement.
Yep.
He's basically taken back the transaction because he knows it's worth a lot more. He
There was
found
one
out
person-
after he sent it.
Yeah, and there was one person in the group chat saying, it's a very large amount of money to be left on the table. What would you
Yeah.
do in that situation?
Oh, this is a double-edged sword, really. Yeah, you probably shouldn't be listing cards thinking you're gonna get a certain amount.
It's
How
a
likely-
very unique
yeah.
situation.
Yeah.
And also, when is this going to happen again, right? And because literally the card went from 2,000 to 25 in, 5 hours or something like that.
Yeah,
Like, it's a
it's-
crazy
yeah.
situation.
Look, you don't begrudge someone sort of doing that, I guess. You can see the rationale behind why they've done it.
If I was the guy who paid 2,000 for it, I would be like very upset. I reckon that would
Yeah.
yeah.
Yeah. Yeah. But if you receive $2,000 for a card and you find out while you're packing it up and posting it, you get back from the post office and all of a sudden
Yeah.
they're like, oh, by the way, how's that $25,000 card you've got? When are you sending that off? And they're
Yeah.
like, what?
Anyway.
Ethically, I think you're right. Once I tend to think once you've made the deal, even if it was a bad deal to make, you've sort of gone back on your transaction, which is
Yeah.
probably not
think-
cool.
I feel like once you've actually, I think again, this is an easy one to explain. It's like once the product's out of your hand, I'm not so sure it actually belongs to you anymore. And I think that, and irregardless of the moral component, I think the moral component of this is pretty obvious, isn't it? You've sold the card, it's you just
Yeah.
have to
Yeah.
stand by your word, and that's
enjoy
it.
enjoy the hard luck story you have to tell everybody
Hmm.
that it's worth 25K.
But ironically, though, he still got 2K out of it, which is doesn't sound horrible for a 1 of 1.
Yep. True.
I've seen 1 of 1 sell for a lot less.
Anyone wants to pay 2K for one of my one-of-ones?
Hey, I just want to say though, it's 18 minutes in and I haven't ragged on Fanatics yet. So I just feel like you should be proud of me for this
You've
moment.
done really well. This has
And that's
been
why
good.
I'm going to rag on them now. I mean,
Okay.
come on. All these people like can't wait for Fanatics to come in. You know
But
what I mean?
that's what I'm saying. Where does the line get drawn at? Oh, like you're saying, Topps have printed multiple one-of-ones, and everyone's cool with it.
Well, they're cool with it now. There's the buyback program.
This is a giant screw up. It's pretty easy. There's one copy of the card, not two. Stamping it as a one-of-one.
You know, the funny thing is, right, most problems, if you throw enough cash at it, actually the problem will go away.
All right, if Panini had done this,
Right. So this is where I was going to, right? So Fanatics are like, we've got a bag of cash. We'll throw some cash at this, make the problem go away, keep the punters happy. I was going to say keep the customers happy, you know, whatever.
Yep.
What would Panini do in this situation? Because I actually
They'd
can't
offer
imagine...
white boxes or something, wouldn't they?
Yeah. I can't actually imagine them offering the buyback program that's been offered here. Like, it's quite extraordinary when you look through the prices here.
Yeah, it's interesting. I can't imagine. Panini are always like, we'll give you more product. Seems to be their thing, right?
Or a replacement card.
Yep. We'll give you a different one-of-one that's probably a duplicate as well.
Yeah. Which they definitely have
Ooh.
increased their game when it comes to the white boxes and such. You found something interesting. What's
No,
up?
I'm looking through the list, and I don't know. There's one player there that said buyback value not available, but the status is purchased.
Yeah.
So it won't say what they paid for it.
Yeah. Look, I think if you were on here before they all got purchased, you could have just, you know, written down the numbers and all the rest of it.
Do you think that's an interesting... Because we talk about, like... I know I go on and on and on about regulating the hobby. This is really about... This is price setting to an extent. By the producer of the cards. It's a backwards way of doing it, but they've literally just set the floor for the card. At the very least, you can get $3,000 for this bit of cardboard.
But just to be devil's advocate there, so the card that sold for $2,000, which was on the open market in a private sale, they as in Fanatics price that at $25. So I actually don't think they're so much setting the prices here. I think they're actually trying to compensate people for the inconvenience. So I think they're paying way over comps.
So what do you reckon one of these $3,000 cards would be? Be like $100 card, and they're paying $3,000 for it.
Yeah.
Okay.
I think they're paying 10 times over comps. Like that would be look. I know nothing about baseball. I'm just trying to go.
Yeah. No,
that's the way I would interpret it. So
okay.
I don't actually see a moral issue from Fanatics here. I can't, even though.
Look, no. There's no moral issue from Fanatics. Yeah. I'm more like, this is interesting that the producer of the card is setting a price of sorts that puts a tangible value on the card.
Sure. Yeah, but I think that's still an inflated.
And price. It's a unique situation because they're all one-of-ones. So it's not like...
It's a crazy situation,
Yeah.
Interesting, though. This is actually the second problem they've had with inserts going to boxes, because the other problem they had with the baseball product was that they didn't put the parallels in, which was like the chase out of the boxes, and they had to send out all these sealed packets to breakers and card shops to then distribute to people who bought boxes. So they must have some problems on their, on their line for that. All right. Final thoughts on that?
Interesting. Very interesting. I'd like to see what happens next time.
Yeah.
Be interesting to see if there was a buyback program when it's not one-of-ones. Because I think buyback programs are unique in that sense.
I don't think they would need to buy them back, because I think what they're trying to do here is actually create a one-of-one.
They're trying
You
to
know what I mean?
create a
Otherwise,
genuine one of one by buying back the duplicates.
the other buyback program they did do was kind of cool. They said, I'm not sure if it was a card or a particular prospect or rookie.
Mm.
You took that card in, then a local card shop had to buy it back from you and give you like some money for it. That was a really cool one. I actually like the idea of that. So that forces you to say to go into EJ Cards or go into Cherry
Yeah.
cards in, and then you've got money, to spend on more cards. Like that's just the
I think the buyback program is an interesting method.
Yep.
Yeah, to create, as you said, generate some interest, generate some genuine interaction with the customers. So
yeah.
good way to sugarcoat their screw up.
Oh yeah, that's it. Alrighty, we have a new sponsor, which is the Bangman, who offers a product of custom repacks. Currently has a silver and gold edition. The silver edition is $209. The gold edition, $429, which includes Prism Hobby Packet, Mosaic, Contenders Select, Optic Flux, and Chronicles. So basically what you're buying into is just all sealed packets. So it's not a repack of sorts where it's a single card repack. What you're buying into here is a mixture of different hobby packets for you to then sit at home and open for yourself.
Okay.
This product is actually available in America relatively freely, but as far as I know, this is the only person who's currently doing it in Australia. So if you'd like to find out more, head over to Instagram, the.bang.man, or find them on Facebook, The Bangman. We've got all the links on our social media pages if you want to follow them up. Listeners to our show, use the promo code You Can't Comp This, and you'll get $15 off your first purchase. So thank you, Amir, and the Bangman team. Yeah, very happy to have you on board, and yeah,
it's going to be a lot of fun.
Keen to see what hits you get out of your packets. And I think the one that Amir wanted us to talk about the most was the Steph Curry number to 10 that came out of his boxes. And I think for me, the really important thing too is the packets aren't searched. So you're getting the whole half case or whatever you purchase going in there. You're not just getting the dregs chucked into some boxes. So massive hit on that. So that's a ripper.
That's awesome.
All right. This is probably something of mine that's a little bit of not even a pet project, but when I saw this, I was like, this is just so obvious, and it's something they should have done a long time ago. So it's a new implementation from eBay where if you do a buy it now, the payment automatically goes through.
Yeah.
So they also do it too when you're making offers on cards. It'll automatically do a payment process through. So the old way it used to be was you would click buy it now, but then 3 days later you could make the payment, whereas this is all just automated. So essentially it helps sellers.
Yeah, for sure.
And I think really what they're trying to do too is weed out those buyers that aren't genuine.
Yep.
So
the ones that actually all can't afford to pay, they just wanted to flag it and then figure it out later, kind of thing. I don't think that's not how you do business. It's as simple as that.
Yeah. This to me is just so obvious and clever.
Like you don't go into a shop, say, yeah, I'd like to buy that, and then they ask for payment. You go, I don't have the money with me right now, but I'll take it home and I'll bring some money back tomorrow. Like, no, you want to buy it now? You pay for it now.
Yeah.
It seems very commonsensical. You're right. We should have had this ages ago, and with the offers, having a payment method attached so that payment is processed. Because if you're making an offer, it's not a test to see if that person will accept the offer. That's I'm offering you money. Simple. I don't know.
It's weird, isn't it? And in some ways, I kind of feel sad that you have to have processes like that in place because of people's bad behavior.
Yep.
So for me, I'm actually negatively affected by this because most of my purchases on eBay are US, and I like to use PayPal and then use my credit card, and then I like to pay in US dollars because I get a better currency exchange from my credit card than I do from PayPal.
Yeah.
So that's my only complaint here, but I would probably say that it's a pretty minor complaint, and it's only
Yeah.
a couple of dollars here and a couple of dollars there. But, if I can save a couple of dollars, I'll definitely try and do that. But it's not, a massive deal for me. But, I think also probably what I like too is that this is just like a very common sense implementation. And I feel like eBay has almost got like a common sense committee now because they
Common
recently,
sense committee. I like it.
sometimes you just get caught up in too much red tape and you do a whole lot of stuff that, doesn't really make sense, but you do it for business or whatever. This to me is just like, common sense. The other thing they did recently too was when they took breaking away. So you have to be like apply to be a breaker.
Yeah.
And then when you're listing cards, they've increased the amount where it's instead of, new or used, like they've got more options
Categories
to list your
and
cards.
yeah.
Which is like so, again, obvious. So they've
All
also
of the
said
common sense things, right?
yeah, they've said they're going to do the same thing for counter offers and auctions. And I think that's the big one. When auctions auto pay, that for me is going to be a little bit of a problem, particularly if I'm going into something bigger. Like I want to make sure that that's done properly. I was reading online saying that if you put in a credit card that is declined, it'll automatically decline. So then you have to go back and manually pay for it. So that is a workaround for it. So maybe that's something I can look at. Anyway. Stricter policies will be in play, including account suspension for those who fail to complete purchases. And I think that's a really, really good thing.
That needed to happen a long, long time ago. But there's too many people exploiting the system that's there.
Yeah. And so the other thing I would add to that too is you can also limit who can interact with your account. So you want to say, look, I don't want to interact with anybody that's got less than 5 ratings. So because I think that the workaround for that will be, okay, fine, you get your account limited, that'll just open up a new account. So I feel like to then, work around that, that's the easy way, to do that. So, yeah.
Yeah. No, I think it's a good step. Good that eBay's got their the common sense committee working on things. Yeah. Yeah. Doing a few pretty straightforward, asking that question, why do we do things the way we do them, I guess.
Yeah, that's right.
It's like, what is this in place for, and why is it necessary? And look, you apply some real world logic to it. I think it's clever.
Speaking of Common Sense Committee, I believe that the Common Sense Committee at the Hobby Hangout made a very wise decision of asking us to speak there on the 19th of November. So
I was going to say the lack of a Common Sense Committee.
How dare you?
I've seen the Hobby Hangout invite us to speak at the Hobby Hangout. That would be we're going to be doing the show there. Do they know what they're in for?
I don't think so.
I don't think so. I really
Possible
don't.
Andrew's never listened to one of our shows ever. He just
Yeah. You never
So
know.
we will be live podcasting on the 19th of November at the Hobby Hangout. We can't wait to see you all there.
Yep.
I will be buying cards. I'll be going through all the dollar boxes and the $5 boxes. So
you can be sure that if you get there late, Russell will have already flipped through the cards in the dollar box.
Yeah, I was going to say, if I get distracted, just make sure you get me up on the stage on time, Ad.
That's it.
It's important.
He'll be up on the stage looking and be like, oh, you're making your way around the still just put a marker in it, a bookmark. You'll be able to go back to it later.
Yeah, so Andrew emailed this week to confirm. So as far as I know, we're good to go for this.
Yeah.
All the details haven't been released, so when more details come out. But guys, please do put this into your calendar if you are in Melbourne, 19th of November. It's always a really well-organized day.
Yep.
And I think we've said this on previous shows. Each time they do a show, they assess and evaluate and look for ways to improve. It's just been a very progressive. It's just gotten better progressively.
Yeah, agree. It's one of the best ones we've been to, and every time it gets better. It's it's incredible. It's good. I mean, we don't know. This might be the time that it gets worse with us talking there, but
I mean, we're not organising the logistics. That will just be a blip on the radar. It'll be fine, mate.
It'll be fine. But yes, if you don't get your tickets and you are in another state, you'll be able to see us live there.
Yeah.
We'll be broadcasting from the event, which will be cool.
I don't know how to segue into this. I was trying to think of a...
Guess who's back? back
a
again.
blip on the radar or something like that, but yeah, it just didn't quite work. Joshua
But
Primo is back in the league. He
we were going to make a
signed
small goods joke. We could have. I know someone in the group chat may have put a hot dog.
yeah.
I think that's the most applicable of the small goods.
Yeah.
All right, we'll let that stew for a sec.
Yeah,
All
let's
right,
just- let-
all right,
let's
straight.
just go.
So yeah, Josh Primo is
Joshua
back.
Primo back into the league with the Clippers. I understand that he's on
Of course, it's with the Clippers.
a two-way deal. Look, I think they do need a point guard. I think that would help them out if they had. And the other thing too about the Clippers, actually, they're quite an old team. So I think taking a flyer on a kid who was the 12th pick in the draft only really 2 years ago, he's still only 20 years old.
Yep.
You know,
I mean, he has to wear his shorts on the court, so he's not going to be exposing himself while he's playing.
yeah. So look, part of his agreement to come back, he needs to complete an ongoing counselling and support services. So I think they're trying to get him the help that he needs, and get the best out of him. I think that we're a hobby podcast, so now we've got the jokes out of the way. Let's talk about the hobby implications here. Look, I think if you held on to his stuff, you've basically had, what has it been now, 6 or 8 months of probably being a little bit, worried or nervous about it. To be perfectly honest, like you weren't really too sure if he was going to be back in the league. So I think if you're holding his stuff, this is a really good sign. If you were buying up stuff cheap when people were dumping it, because people were dumping that stuff like crazy, you've probably, you're going to do okay out of it. I think without stealing your little mantra, obviously it's still only time will tell, and I have to have an Andrew gaze into the future to see where this ends up. But I gotta say, the kid is talented, and in the right situation, if you were snapping up stuff, high-end stuff for cheap, I think you're going to do really well out of this. So
yeah, it seems we take the politics out of it, right? It's very straightforward. The kid can play basketball, and his cards will be, if he plays good basketball, his cards will go up in value. It's very simple.
Yeah.
And the fact that the incident that led to his suspension and sort of being out for a little while was obviously tanked his prices. So now he's at that really good opportunity to sort of grab a bargain and prospect away.
Yeah. Yeah, look, I'm just having a look at some of this stuff now. So PSA 10, this is the Prism rookie card, the blue one, the NBA 75th. That's sold for $9.05. So that's cheaper than the cost of grading.
Yeah.
There's a vertical National Treasures RPA to 99, 152.
Yeah.
I think that says a lot. A middling.
Yeah.
A pretty good player of those is sitting around $1,000 mark. So just to give you sort of a contrast. Sorry, I'm talking $1,000 US, by the way, too.
Yeah.
Actually, really interesting. I'm surprised there's that many sales of this guy even now. This stuff is selling super cheap still. So look, I don't actually believe this is going to be a quick flip. I think this is really a 3 or a 4 year purchase, and I think there's still a lot of risk here. But I think in the very short term, people who are still holding on to Primo, very, very happy with this news.
Yep.
So
look, you might get a run, and look, the Clippers are good at getting their stars injured.
They need some young legs on that team.
Yep. He'll get some game time. That's true. No, I guess if he's on the Clippers, the red, white, and blue variant will be the one.
To get, you reckon?
Yeah.
Okay.
I mean, he was drafted as a Spur, but if he's on the Clippers, he makes a name for him as the Clippers.
Yeah. No, I see your rationale there.
$1.99 for the on eBay, recently sold raw. Pick up those variants, or just the blue one, I guess. Color match.
So our next segment is just frothing over some card sales recently that have just happened. And since we did that Jordan podcast a couple of weeks back, I've definitely been looking at more Jordan cards. I've just been enjoying, just trying to get my head around all the different inserts and stuff. So this is from Card Ladder, a ladder headline that if you don't subscribe to them on Twitter, I definitely suggest that you do. This is the 1995 Topps Finest Refractor Peel On. I need to say this.
Yep. With the
Last
coating.
sold for $10,800. It's interesting because the previous sale was around the sort of the $8,000 mark, and the sale before that was less than two. So it's gone up exponentially.
7,380 on the 28th of June, 2021. Yep. So what's that? Just over 2 years, and the card's gone up. Yeah, 3.5K.
Yeah. And if you dial it back to 2017, it's basically 5x'd. So,
yeah,
really interesting. Look,
it's a nice card. Topps Finest. Look, the refractors. Yeah, enough said about those cards though. That's not the original. Is that the original refractor? No, Topps Finest was. Where's the one? The iconic one.
We need to talk to Paris about this type of small detail. Yeah. Speaking of that, we'll be with the boys in 2 weeks.
Yeah, talking to the Codex boys.
We cannot wait. We've got that teed up in the diary, so that'll be great.
Yeah, and they've been doing some amazing work. Some great stuff to talk about. So, yeah, a couple of weeks. And we'll hit Paris up about Topps Finest refractors.
Now, this next one I want to talk to you about because I think this is quite potentially one of the deals of the year. Luka Doncic, 1920 iMac Logoman 1 of 1. BGS 9, which is not bad for a card like that. Sold for $28,200. You tell me why this is not the deal of the year.
Because the player's Luka Doncic. That's literally it. It's a Luka. No, it's not a rookie.
Doesn't that seem understeered? And logo man.
It is a logo man. It is low for a logo man.
That's what I thought.
But it's not a rookie card. What is it? Third year, second year.
Just a second year, yeah.
Second year. Okay.
Yeah.
Yeah, no, that's definitely for an iMac. Yeah, right. It's probably the deal of the year. It's one of.
Yeah.
I feel like out of the league.
Obviously, we're not talking like a small amount of cash here, but it's, yeah. I really think that I've got this fun. I was actually talking. I was talking to my mate about this today. I was saying I feel like at the moment it's almost a good time to put your big boy pants on and just buy
a big card.
Something. Yeah, because is it a good time to buy at the moment? Just for the fact that things are, and so have trended down the last couple of years. Things aren't exactly popping off like crazy.
And history shows us that eventually things do take off again.
Yeah. I'm just looking at Luka Doncic's overall growth or regression for the last 6 months, and he's actually down 16%. So maybe
I'm working on it.
Maybe that's just a general, reflection of how Luka's trending at the moment. So now that I've got it open, his last sale for a silver PSA 10 was 1,305. The high price in the last 6 months was 1,600. So,
come on, people, get your. Speaking of people getting their big boy pants on, anyone that's got one of those ungraded base, we get that? Can we just get the PSA 10 base card above 20K? Come on, people.
Do you mean 20,000 population or
20,000? Yeah, not money. Population. That's at 19,640. We just need 360 more PSA 10s to hit 20,000. What's the silver at? God, there's a lot of different variations too.
Yeah. The variations have gone up, but in addition to that, there's actually quite a bit loaded into Card Ladder.
Yeah, that's true. That's true. 2,240 is the pop count on the silver.
high, isn't it?
It's
Particularly when we're just talking
2,000.
about.
It's 2,200 higher than Dame Lillard's.
Yeah, that's right. Yeah.
So, yeah. I guess the pop count on the one that was sold for 28K is 1, unless it's been made by Tops, in which case there might be 2. But
Yeah.
the fact that it's a 1 of 1 makes it, yeah, bargain. 28K.
Yeah, I'm sticking with that. Look, I don't know.
Even I can't deny that is a good.
Yeah.
Anthony Milne in the chat, buy it, and tags me. No, I'm not buying it. I'm not buying it.
Alrighty, so this next segment is very. I'm not going to lie to you. This is very self-indulgent. I love this product, but I think actually there's enough here to talk about. So I definitely wanted to. I've actually wanted to do this for the last 2 weeks. So we've had a few other things on the run sheet. So I just want to talk about
Emergencies and other things coming up.
Yeah.
Look,
I just want to talk about Mosaic and just the inserts that's coming out of Mosaic this year. And I think so. There's 2 parts of this. I like the product, and I think traditionally we like to talk about high-end cards, but we also like to talk about dollar cards. So this is a really good place to look at some great dollar cards. So let's just talk about that. So the first thing I wanted to actually kick off about though was Mosaic stained glass. So traditionally that's actually the case hit.
Yep.
And the last 2 years and maybe 3 years, they've really been the chase cards, and aftermarket they've sold really, really well, but they've just changed it around this year. So the stained glass is no longer a case hit. It's not an SSP anymore. It's just an SP. So
okay.
There's 12 boxes in a case, and you're getting about 4 or 5 in a case, depending on. You always get a little bit of variance out of that.
Yep.
But so basically, instead of getting 1 a case, now you're getting 4 or 5.
Yep.
So I think the thing I wanted to talk about here was just keep that in mind when you're doing your purchasing, because you can't use previous years to comp against. And sometimes we do that with cards, but in this particular instance, that's an incorrect comp.
Yeah.
Just for the fact of the population differences there. So, please do keep that in mind, because, look, I think the stained glass card is still collectible. And I think people will still buy and sell these, this year. But I think people will also be overpaying for them as we move into... 12 months from here, 2 years away. So just, be a little bit wary in that space. So they've introduced 2 more case hits, which is the Razzle Dazzle, which really hasn't sold that well. And look, I haven't sat there and gone through, a whole bunch of comps, but I almost want to go out into a limb and say the stained glass is still outselling the Razzle Dazzle. So
is that just because of a lack of knowledge, you reckon?
I just think because people know the name stained glass, and they're a really nice looking card. And to be honest, I think look better than the Razzle Dazzle. And I think the reason why you would overpay or, pay higher for a Razzle Dazzle is because it's an SSP instead of a SP, if that makes sense.
Yeah. Fair.
Yeah. But this is the really interesting one. So this is called the Glitter, and this is also an SSP. It hasn't been advertised properly. It hasn't been explained at all. And some people have been mislabeling them on eBay as a white sparkle, but they're not a white. It's definitely not a white sparkle.
Not a white sparkle,
It's not that, but I can also understand why people would write that on the listing. The way I actually explain when I held one in my hands is because it's a very matte card. It's not a shiny sort of prism card, and it's almost sort of like a polished silver finish that's gravelly. That's very bad description, but that's another way of saying the glitter card. So, and look, these next comps that I'm about to give you aren't the best comps because they're veterans, but I've picked up one for 99 cents. That was Buddy Hield.
Yeah.
And these are case hits, by the way. I picked up Brandon Ingram for $1.25. And I picked up Bradley Beal for 99 cents. So I'm not expecting all of these to get to my mailbox because maybe the tracking will be
provoked,
intercepted.
Yeah.
But at the same time, let's just say I get 2 of these into my mailbox. I'll be very, very happy with
Very
these.
happy, yeah.
Yeah. So I think we talk about pocket change and we talk about getting pockets or areas of value. So this for me is like a real bargain at the moment. I don't think the market has picked up on these being the SSP and or the case hit, whichever sort of terminology you want to use. That's a podcast unto itself. But yeah, these are SSPs and they are actually very affordable. So check them out. The rookies are going for much more. Like I think a couple of the rookies I looked at were going for like 150, 250 US, and actually that's probably still a very reasonable purchase, right? But if you want to get in on something, that's definitely one to have a look at. And then after that, it just goes down to insert preferences. So the one that's on top of my list though is the Overdrive. Again, this is the Darren Fox Mosaic Overdrive. So obviously that's my main PC. I picked this up for 99 cents. I think the postage was $1.11. I mean, this is wild.
That's
basically
awesome.
I'm getting a card delivered for like $4. These just look like awesome cards. And I keep saying this, but there's no other way to say it. They just look like fantastic cards. They look like something maybe borrowed from a Genesis or, something like that. Those cards that just look like great.
They just look,
Yep. So perfect for pocket change. And then just going through the list, they've got the Jam Master, which I don't mind what they've done to the Jam Master this year. I probably prefer, some of the ones from the other years, but it's definitely not a failure by any means.
By any means, yeah.
Yeah. And if you're getting that again in the Mosaic short print, that's really nice. And this is sort of getting worse, I suppose, as we're going down the list. But again, still really nice. The Stairmasters, I don't mind that at all.
I like that one. I'm actually looking at you should link the KD.
Yeah.
That looks really good.
Now, this is the one that I think is a little bit more interesting. It's the Notoriety. I think that if your PC is in this list, you should check it out and you should pick one up because particularly in the Mosaic variant.
I do like the Mosaic variant.
It sounds weird to say that, but the Mosaic card is fantastic. Yeah.
Yeah, no, I like it. I like the Mosaic variety. The variant. I can't. The plain one doesn't do it for me. It feels more like a hoops. Looks like a hoops insert. I'm guessing it's a bit more shiny than that, but
when you get a hold of the base cards, they don't make sense. They just look washed out and not enough detail or not enough effort put into it.
Yeah.
But as soon as they overlay the Mosaic,
it's just
prism coating onto it, you're like, oh right, that's why they made it the base like that, and that's why it looks like that. It just looks so good.
Yeah.
Then the one I've got at the bottom of the list, it's the Give and Go. Look, I don't mind this, but at the same time, it's still at the bottom of my list. I feel like this is maybe on par with the Stairmasters, but it's just not as good. So if you're going to go, for one or the other,
it reminds me more of the some of the Prism subsets, insert sets.
Yeah, where they just look a bit tired.
They're just generic insert set.
Yeah. But usually Mosaic, they really
step up and pump it up. It's interesting that they haven't done that.
Well, I mean, you can't get everyone right, but again, they've really done some really nice work here. I got to say, the Notoriety, that is actually quite growing on me.
Yeah.
So I might pick one of these to do like the set chase in, but I just can't go past Jam Masters.
Yeah, Jam Masters is pretty cool. I like the Jam Masters and I like the Stairmaster. I'll tell you what though, the Razzle Dazzles are a bit razzly and dazzly.
Too razzly for you?
I don't know. I don't mind it.
What would you prefer, the stained glass or the Razzle Dazzle?
That's a good question. I don't know. I think the stained glass probably, and that's why they're probably releasing more to the public as well.
Yeah, keep people happy.
Yeah,
definitely.
Yeah. But I do like the Stairmaster and I do like the Jam Masters.
Give the people what they want.
Yep. Cool inserts. We love it. Mosaic, yeah, not, as I said, probably not one of my go-to sets, but there are some nice cards there for sure.
Yeah. Final thoughts.
Final thoughts. Maybe we need to get. I need to get in touch with Bangman to get like some variety packs. I might get some Mosaic through there. Don't know. That's my thought.
Sure.
I want to get some packs, crack some packs.
I'm sure he'll hook you up.
Yeah. I've got a code. I might use the code. Yeah. Get me some cards.
Get your $15 off.
Get my $15 off.
Yeah.
That's what it's there for.
That's it. Alrighty, mate. Thanks for a lovely evening.
That was a really, really, really nice show. Yeah. So we've got regular scheduled programming next week, so Sunday. But then the following week, we've got the Card Codex boys.
Yeah.
So that's going to be special.
That would be great.
And then the NBA season is not far away. Preseason games start soon.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's exciting.
I can just about taste it.
Yeah. Yeah, I'm looking forward to watching some basketball. I'm really looking forward to watching some basketball.
I'm going to make a small confession. I'm still watching playoff games, to be honest.
I've been seeing old games on YouTube.
Yeah.
Just random Kobe games.
Yeah.
Yeah. Yeah.
Can't go past the playoff intensity of NBA games.
Just watching. We consume the content. May as well. It's there, right?
Yeah.
There's a few extra people those that bought the special version of 2K this year got a league pass that they'll be having access to very shortly by the sound of it.
Yeah, right. Okay.
So
it's a nice little kicker.
Growth of the platform. But yeah, they're the amount of content that's on there, not just the live games. Not that we're here to plug the NBA app, but it's good. We can consume lots of games as opposed to, imagine 20 years ago trying to watch the basketball.
Yeah. No, League Pass is next level. When it works, it is next level because you can just flick between whatever you want. And yeah, it is really good.
Yeah, for sure.
Yeah. All right, man.
Awesome. Until next week. Thanks for another great show. Thanks to the listeners.
Yeah, thanks everyone for listening. We